Hello, thanks for tuning in and welcome to the pool party. I hope you can swim because we're definitely diving into the deep end with a huge splash of truth, facts, evidence, information, and proof. Swim. Say what you mean. It's talk about talking. How we listen, how we hear, how we speak, how we hear what we're listening to when we speak, how a listener hears what we're saying, if what we're saying, what they're actually hearing and or understanding. Is it clear? Swim. Say what you mean. Well, that's just the beginning of understanding, because after we get that understanding, how do we accept it? How we respond if it's not what we expect is paramount. Are you okay with the truth? Are you man, woman, human, or spiritual enough to accept the truth? Let's find out.
Let's do that.
Welcome to The Swimming Pool with your host, Travis Bridges.
Bam! Good evening, everybody, and welcome to The Swimming Pool with your host, Travis Bridges. I am he, and he be me. And this is the swimming pool, SWYM. That is the acronym for Say What You Mean. I have a question for you. Are you saying what you mean? Are you meaning what you say? You want to know why I asked that question? Because I have been selected officially as the official person to bring awareness to how we listen, how we hear, how we pay attention, and what we do with the information during that process. It's amazing. I say it all the time, and I'm going to say it right now. I don't like to be proven wrong, but when I am, I get excited because then I can grow, because I do a little research, I do a little reading and studying, and I meditate often. And I reason in my meditation. Somehow or another, I kind of put 2 and 2 together, and usually it comes up to 4. Every now and then it'll be 22. But for the most part, when I'm adding, I'll put 2 of something and 2 of something else. And then it'll be 4 things all together. That's what you call logic and reasoning. And of course, someone will say, well, maybe not all the time. Well, I'm not talking about all the time. I'm talking about something that has been established already, like a point of reference or a universal principle. If gravity says don't jump off the building and think you're going to fly unless you are a bird or a kite or some kind of flying device, it's a principle. You're probably not going to make it if you're in the Earth's atmosphere and you're jumping from, somewhere higher than, the ground. You just can't do anything about that. Those are what you call universal principles. I can't change it. Points of references are things that are pretty much set in order and are reasonable expectations within a society. So there you go. 2 and 2 is 4. 1 and 1 is 2. It's been established already. If you want to argue that, chances are you will lose if you are within a pool of your peers, because most of us who passed the 3rd, 4th, 5th, 6th, 7th grade, we probably know what's sensible, what's reasonable. And one of my favorite quotes from Judge Judy, the Honorable Judge Judy, she says, if something doesn't make sense, it's not true. Or it's probably not true, something to that effect. And there's some truth in that. If something doesn't make sense, that's when you do some really good, fine investigation. And you don't go making assumptions. You don't go say, well, just because this is that. And I remember in my policing class when I took, criminal justice, because I wanted to get deep into, the legal field at one time, I remember investigating, they talked about inductive and deductive reasoning. Just because something looks obvious, you can't assume that without the evidence and the proof. So just because one person is on the scene and they have blood on them doesn't mean they committed some crime. If someone else is maybe bleeding and on the way to, to seek medical attention, don't just assume that they did it just because maybe they're holding the knife. Yeah, that's a good place to start and ask questions, but don't just make assumptions just because you feel or you think or you believe something, because feeling and thinking and believing has caused more trouble than it's even worth. With that being said, I'm just going to say, be considerate. What is my subject for today? Sore losers. Go home and try again, train again for next season. There's nothing worse than a sore loser. I have a video I'm going to play at the end, and I'm going to bring it all home in due time. So stick with me, okay? One of my friends said, "You brought it home at the end." And I was like, well, that's what the benediction is for. Don't leave before the benediction because you just might miss something. Yeah, sometimes I rattle. Sometimes I have to get things together in my head because I'm not an official talk show host. I come on my YouTube channel because I can. Some people don't like being in front of audiences, crowds, or cameras, and I don't mind considering what I get out of it. I get to express myself, I get to share things, and hopefully shed some light. But let's see, what was the quote? Where was I? My friend said something about staying to the end. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to read the definition of a sore loser, and this comes straight from the main source, and we all know what that is. And it goes like this: sore loser. Ready? A person who is habitually angered, irritated, or annoyed when they do not win something or gain a desired advantage. It goes on to say, there is no point in being a sore loser and whining about it all. I'm going to read that one more time. A sore loser is a person who is habitually angered, irritated, or annoyed when they do not win something or gain a desired advantage. It goes on to say, there is no point in being a sore loser, and whining about it all. Well, just so happened we're in the playoffs, and if you are a sports fan, you might know about the team that everybody loves to hate, and I'm just going to go ahead and say it. How about them Cowboys? Well, the Cowboys are what has been named as America's team. For some reason, there's something about some of my best friends are Cowboy fans. And they have a different energy and a different attitude, about their team and about, their players and about their owners of the team and their stadium. They seem to think that they just deserve it and they're just mostly recognized. And because of that, that's enough that they should win, And when they don't win, oh my God, the crying starts and the tears never stop flowing. But just by chance, if they just happen to stumble across, the time clock and have more points than the other team, then, oh yeah, they're shining in their light, So I'm not saying anything negative about the Cowboys because I'm a sports fan and just, I like most teams. There are some teams that I am just not too crazy about. But I'm not coming down on any Cowboy fans. However, you almost can't ignore the energy or the attitude of those fans. It's just something different and something special. And every sports player, every sports fan, everyone knows it. So that's the energy and what I want to talk about. Being a sore loser. Now, yes, they have a great ball club, as it's often called. Awesome franchise. They just, just out there like that. But you can't win all the time. And if you don't win, shut your mouth and just go on and train and come back for the next game and be okay with it. Don't feel like you're privileged, like somebody owes you something. So that's what I want to teeter on. People who think they are owed something or entitled. And when they lose, they do what sore losers do. They whine, they cry, they take low blows, they take cheap shots, they try to shame you into something. They just go all out of their way. You ever seen someone playing checkers or chess, and when they don't get their way, they just throw the game all over, just throw the stuff all out the way? I saw a video of this one kid at Thanksgiving dinner. If you search the internet, you'll see it. I just thought it was amazing. It was funny in one way, but it was crazy. This kid was just being sassy to his folks, and all the family was sitting down at Thanksgiving, and he didn't get his way. You know what he did? He just turned over the whole Thanksgiving table, just turned everything over. And it's amazing to watch and to see that kind of energy and attitude. I don't know where that kid is today, but I kind of felt a little compassion for him, because what's got to be inside your head to think it's okay to do that because you don't get your way? You can't win all the time. And if you don't win, let it be a lesson to not step up and talk so much and try to think, follow your beliefs and your thoughts and all of that stuff. Okay. How do I do? Me. What do you do that when you digress? Whatever it is. I'm just trying to not be on such a roll. But if you just so happen to not get your way, don't take cheap shots. Don't inflict more pain on someone. If you accuse someone of something and you find out that you are wrong, take the L, learn from it, and go on. Don't drag it out. Don't try to cover it up. Don't try to cheat, take cheap shots. Don't do that. I'm going to play this video, and the person in the video fits the description of what a sore loser would do and say and maybe even sound like. Now, I'm not picking on anyone. This just so happened to be there, and I'm just going to use it. As a matter of fact, I kind of like this guy. I think he's cool. He's a great athlete and the works. But there's a video I'm going to play in a few minutes, and it just, talks about sore losing. It's an opportunity to grow. Let's not add insult to injury. Let's not make ourselves look really bad. And if you're in a competition with someone of any kind and you start to hear the negativity, you get hit below the belt after the bell rings, or if you're still mumbling, sassing, talking trash, or you hear that, you have already won. First of all, if you've trained and you're ready and you know who you are and you know whose you are, you don't have to worry about certain enemies or competition. And it's hard to ignore a fire-breathing dragon with funky breath, in your face, on your back, in your email, wherever, just bothering you. But and just like the bully from last week, all you have to do is just speak the word, and then they're just going to be out like a light. But you find a way to go high when they go low and manage to get through the season, for lack of a better term, and you get to the playoffs and you see the dragon get burned up, and then the dragon starts to cry. It's hard to feel sorry for, the trash talker and the bully when the bully finally gets punched in the face, or when the trash talker finally has no more trash to talk. So with that being said, I'm just going to say this and leave you with it. When you're wrong, or when you lose, or when you just didn't train enough for the competition that you stepped in, let it go. Looks like another love TKO. Love. That's all I'm going to say about that. I had a pretty rough day on yesterday, and I don't know what it is about me. Maybe I'm just my mama's baby. Sometimes when the moon and the sun and the stars align a certain way, I go through what I call a little dark moment. And yesterday I was sad. And throughout the day I got an email, and it was just nasty. And I was like, gosh, man. But then somewhere overnight, I went to a movie. Hey, I did see something. I'm going to name drop. I don't like to do this. But I saw The Beekeeper, and it was pretty good. And my favorite line in The Beekeeper movie, let's see if I can remember it. It goes like this. Whose side are you on? The law or justice? Well, it was obvious that there's a difference between the law and justice. or the law and the truth. I've been saying that for 2 or 3 years now, and I learned that the hard way, unfortunately. But the law and the truth, or as the movie said, the law and justice, can really be different. And if you find yourself on the side of where there's no justice, or there's, falseness, if that's even a word, there's something called being patient and staying the course. It doesn't feel like it works, but it does. Even when you get hit below the belt, even when you're shamed, even when you are spat on and nailed to a cross, if you do the right thing, you will always rise. I'm just going to say that. And maybe one day the Cowboys will do the right thing and maybe they will rise. We don't know. Guess what? If and when they rise, I'm not going to be jealous and then talk about them in a negative way. I might talk about them, but I'm not going to hit them below the belt. So, with that being said, I'm going to say hello to Jackie and Anthony Morrow. Christine is back. Christine, hey, how you doing? Thanks for coming back with me. You know what? You don't need 30 million people to watch your stuff, but if you have at least 3, like, the people that show up and just be here with me. And that's what friends do and supporters do. I guess, when I know people that have podcasts and live streams and whatnot, and I go and check them out. I was listening to one a few minutes ago, and I've got to go and get therapy because I've been finding myself scrolling too much. I've got to stop that. Lord, please help me. Y'all pray for me here because I get caught sometimes and I need to cut that mess out. I started practicing my horn for some stuff that I've got going on. Anyway, where was I? Let me get back. Oh, yeah, I'm going to go to the video and I'm going to let you hear. I'm probably going to come back. I might even talk through it. But we're talking about sore losers. It's a bad look. It's a bad look. Okay, you ready for the video? I was going to play it right now. You ready? Don't be surprised when you see this guy. And I'm not calling him out or talking about him. He just so happened to be on the and I just picked it, randomly. But listen to the tone and just listen. He's a good dude. I think he just maybe, my mama would call it being used by the devil. And the devil will use anything and anybody, and so will the Lord. So don't be surprised if the devil uses you one day. All right, here we go. Stand by.
Team, except in the city that deserved it the most. Except the team that's most recognizable and deserved it the most.
Oh, by the way, he's going to say 2 words that you probably wouldn't say in Sunday school. They're not too bad, and I didn't have time to edit them out. But if you are holier than thou and you've never said anything bad, then you can just turn off or go away. But he says a couple of words that are a little heavy, not necessarily inappropriate, but probably not necessarily the best for Sunday school. Okay, I'm going to go back. I'm going to let it play, and then I may come back and talk about it. But check it out, okay? I'll be right back.
Team, except in the city that deserved it the most. The team that's most recognizable and deserved it the most. What do you do when all you have don't understand what they have? When I got here, I understood the men before me. They built the Dallas Cowboys. They made this America's team. They put a championship on the table before I got here. My job while I was here is to match what they have done because they built it. They handed it to me. Put my damn championship on the table. That's all we ask. Put your damn championship on the table and you couldn't do it. All their asses gotta go.
What? He said all of they behinds gotta go. All of them. Even the cheerleaders, even the people who did nothing. You're going to destroy the whole city, God? I mean, what's your name? Well, maybe so. They all got to go. But he said, the city that deserves it the most recognizable, they really thought they had it. And maybe they did, but they just didn't finish strong. And now that anger and that rage and that sore losiness, everybody's got to go. He's going to go and do something irrational, maybe, if he can. I don't even know if he's got stock in the team or he's just, in love that much. He just can't get away. Although he's been gone, he's still there. But, that's cool. I'm not talking about him. I'm just using the example. And I guess if someone uses one of my examples one day, okay, so be it. Hopefully somebody will learn or grow from it. Hopefully I'm not doing or saying anything negative or bad. And if I do, hopefully I'll learn from it. With that being said, I'm going to play it one more time and then I'm going to go. Talking about sore losers. It's okay. We're always, when we walk out of our door every day, when we wake up in the morning, we have forces around us. Some of them, most of them don't mean us any good. And if you ever find yourself in a situation where you're, facing darkness or evil, it can be scary. Don't get me wrong. I believe the Hebrew boys were scared. I believe Daniel was scared. There might have been a little fear in David, but none of them really showed it. Even Jesus said, Lord, take this cup away from me. He didn't want to go through it. But there's something about enduring. My sister Barbara, she talks about endurance. It's something about enduring. You will see, the glory, in due season. And maybe the Cowboys will see the glory in due season. But I'm going to play this one more time, and then I'm going to go. With that being said, thank you so much for tuning in with me. I appreciate it. I really do. It's therapy for me. I'm here. I have been selected as the official person to bring awareness to how we listen, how we hear, how we speak, what we do with the information in the process, what we do with it. Because I like to also cover after you've heard information, after you've asked questions, after you've, investigated. Were you persuaded? Were you manipulated? Or were you just reasonable enough to listen, hear, pay attention, and use the information you gathered to have a different perspective? People change all the time. And it's okay to be wrong or inaccurate. It's how you grow. It's how you learn. So I encourage you to listen, hear, pay attention, listen again. Try not to put so much of your own feelings into something, your own emotions, your way, what you think should just happen, because the evidence is there. The team, this particular spokesperson just thought it should have happened, and it doesn't always happen. And when it does, okay, that's your day. But when it doesn't, pack your stuff and get to stepping. Whoever you are, whatever you're doing, don't hit below the belt. Don't shame. Don't name call. Just learn, grow, and get better. All right, I'm going to play it one more time. Have a good night. Do me a small favor. Find someone you need to say, I love you too. Don't just say it. Show it, mean it. Let it be true. It's not that hard. I really do believe that there's an answer to every question. There's a solution to every problem. We just have to move as much of ourselves out of the way and trust the process. No matter how long it tarries, wait for it. If you know you're on the right track, if you're doing the right thing, even if you're not delivered, continue to do the right thing. Maybe you don't get it today, but you will get it tomorrow. You can't do the right thing and then get the wrong results, even if it doesn't show. So that's my story. I'm sticking with it. If I'm right, I'm just going to stay on the right path. Or if I'm doing what I believe to be right until I have proof, evidence and information, I'm just going to trust the process. And I hope that someone can talk sense in my head, especially if I'm tripping. All right, with that being said, have a good night. Thanks again. I love you.
Team, except in the city that deserved it the most. Except the team that's most recognizable and deserved it the most. What do you do when all you have don't understand what they have? When I got here, I understood the men before me. They built the Dallas Cowboys. They made this America's team. They put a championship on the table before I got here. My job while I was here is to match what they have done because they built it. They handed it to me. Put my damn championship on the table. That's all we ask. Put your damn championship on the table, and you couldn't do it. All their asses gotta go.
SWYM. Say what you mean. As much as this information is designed to bring awareness to how we listen, hear, and process, it is also a form of therapy. The little person inside of all of us needs to be heard. As adults, even listening to ourselves is a form of healing, strengthening, and growth. It's okay to speak, talk, express yourself, and be heard, even if you're the only listener. If our testimony does anything at all for anyone else, that makes the continued effort worth the time. Get the words out. You'll feel better, and that's a promise. Thanks for tuning in. We really appreciate it.
You know, sometimes it seems like all the good times are gone. But you got to keep on searching. You got to keep on keeping on. Keep on keeping on. For example, take me standing right here today. I would not be here with you if I believed the things that the people say. You got to keep on searching. Keep on searching. Keep it on.